Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into this. So, it's lying season. Lying season. Mock drafts are coming out left and right. Rumors are coming out about Daniel Jones being the starter. They love him, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into some of that in fine detail. First, I want to say to the people who want to draft a receiver, I understand your thinking, but why? Why do you want to give a quarterback who doesn't throw downfield, who doesn't do a good job reading defenses and getting the ball to his main targets? Why do you want to then give him another weapon to then waste on the field? I'm not saying we're a quarterback away or anything like that. The Giants are in a full rebuild. They need to be in a full rebuild. And the reason why I want a quarterback more than anything else is because that signals to me that we're rebuilding. That is a signal of the rebuild. That is what it is. And the Giants have been trying to rebuild for years and haven't done it correctly. We can't say that we haven't given this guy weapons. We brought in Kenny Galladay. We brought in Darren Bellinger. We had Saquon Barkley on the roster, right? There were things that were done in this team that have been brought in that may or may not have worked, but it's not all a product of the quarterback, right? It's not all about like, hey, well, the Giants did him dirty. Some of the blame is on him. And I asked those people who like Daniel Jones, I'm asking you, and those who tell me they watch film, what are you seeing that I'm not? Because when I look at a quarterback, I look at a guy who has lack of confidence, who mentally doesn't see the whole field, who is not a good processor after the post-snap, okay? And a guy that doesn't elevate his team. What I hear is, he's the first one in, last one out. We need to build the team around him to make everything perfect. Well, hell, if we get a better talent, why wouldn't that help the better talent? Like, I don't understand. Like, if we build the team up for this quarterback, for him to be good, what would happen if we had a guy that was actually good here? Like, what would we do? Think of it like that. So you want to build a team for a guy who's mediocre to be what? Mediocre? And I know I hear the things about, you can't reach on a quarterback. Every one of these top 5, top 6 quarterback prospects are better prospects coming out than Daniel Jones ever was. And you can't rely on saying, well, this is what Daniel Jones did. This is what this guy did. It's not going to work. And don't sit here because, we picked the quarterback at 6. It's not going to work out. I trust Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka especially to develop a guy. Why not? You saw what they did with 3 different quarterbacks on the roster. The first one, $160 million, was a complete disaster. They had an undrafted rookie free agent that won 3 games, more than Daniel Jones this season. And Tyrod Taylor had better numbers with the similar offensive line and got guys like Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton involved in the game plans. So how can you then sit here and tell me that it's a reach when the Giants have a huge need at the biggest position on the field? I don't understand it. To bring in a receiver is fun. We're going to reach for a guy, reach it. So then when do you want a quarterback? Tiki Barber's like, you got to build a team first, then get a quarterback. Yeah, okay, Tiki Barber. Yeah, you didn't even like Eli Manning. You called him soft. Okay? Your quarterback that you played with, Tiki Barber, or Dave Brown, Kerry Collins, Eli Manning, the best one you had was Eli Manning. So don't tell me you know about quarterbacks and building a team. Tiki Barber's a shill. What I don't get with these people is, what are we seeing? Daniel Jones's play has been bad 4 out of the 5 years that he's been in the league. He's been injured 4 out of the 5 years in the league, but we still want to roll with this guy for what? Everybody else in the league, if this guy was on a different team, he'd be out the league or a backup right now. Giants are the only ones that keep him loyal to this team. I don't understand. I don't understand why people want to stay in this cycle of mediocrity. I don't want to lose anymore. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of being bad. I'm tired of being a laughing stock. Here, take a look at this, okay? Most of the defenses in the NFL are already pegged Daniel Jones. Witherspoon, a rookie who came into the league, played 4 games last year, understood his notes to a T. So much so that he jumped a route because of his first read. And he said to you verbatim, we knew he was going to go to his first read. We saw it in the scouting report. We did it. This guy is a marked man, okay? He's a marked man in the NFL, meaning most defenses, and we don't play no slouches next year. We still play a stacked Cowboys defense. We play a defense on the Eagles who knows what they're going to do with Vic Fangio. They may come of age, okay? We play the entire AFC North. Every one of those teams has defenses, no matter what you look through. Pittsburgh, they had the Browns in the playoffs. They had the Ravens in the playoffs. They had Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And not to mention the Bengals, who are going to be team to be reckoned with as well. So those 4 teams are all good right now, defenses. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback against great defenses. It doesn't matter if you bring in Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors. It is not going to change. A tiger don't change his stripes. So for all the fans out there that love Daniel Jones, I'm asking you, and people claim that they watch film, a lot of film, and I'm talking to a lot of you out there. What are you seeing that makes you believe? And I'm gonna take your Homer glasses off, take your Giant glasses off, do your content creator glasses, because a lot of people do a lot of content and talk with the heart, which is good, but you got to talk with your eyes and your mind. You got to put this away sometimes. You know, I got Giant fans laughing at the Cowboys for losing. Oh, they lost the playoffs. Eagles, high five. Our team's a laughing stock in the league, and you're laughing at them because they lost the playoff game? Meanwhile, our coach is getting guys kicked off the team and having inner turmoil and strife. But we want to laugh at them because we're quote unquote Giant fans. We need to clean up our stuff in-house. I think getting a new quarterback would help that. But I know a lot of you Daniel Jones lovers are going to say, with the new quarterback, be very critical of him because you don't want to be wrong. And that's the thing, is you don't want to be wrong. That's what it looks like to me. Because everything that I've looked at, I've studied the film on the kid, I've done my own research and notes, I've watched other people research this guy and seen some of the same things go on. And sure, guys are going to miss passes, but he doesn't do anything that sparks a fancy. Giant fans like to talk a lot of crap to other teams, but then they can't even look inward at their own team and see that they have a problem. So I'm not a guy that cares about a prideful win, beating some crappy team or some team that is in disarray at the end of the year because I want to be Giant pride. I want to wear my Giant gear. Great. Do you know the Giants are the worst team in football in the last 5-6 years? The worst team record-wise in football. But we want to have Giant pride? This is the reason why the Giant team is here. Everyone wanted to win a couple games this year, so we didn't look like a dumpster fire. So they couldn't make a quarterback. That's exactly what they wanted. This is exactly how the Giants wanted it. This is how some of the fan base wanted it. So they could just sit here and fluff up the receiver and say, let's get the receiver. We don't need the quarterback. We have a quarterback problem. This is a good quarterback draft. Go get one. I don't want to hear excuses about guys because guys' ratings haven't even fully gone in. And I guarantee you at the end of the combine and at the end of these pro days, by the time we get to April, there'll be at least 4 or 5 first-round quarterback grades on these quarterbacks. I'll put my money on it. And I think 5 are going to go in the first round at least. Don't miss out because you want to keep a guy on this team. I also have to think about it like this. Brian Daboll might be calling plays, right? That's one of the rumors going around. If I'm Brian Daboll, and I'm looking at Joe Schoen, why in the hell am I going to call plays for a guy that stinks, that I didn't even draft? Why am I going to do that? Why am I going to waste time like that? That seems dumb. That seems redundant. Common sense tells you the guy has 2 major injuries to the back. A knee injury. The backs don't get easier, right? If he gets another concussion or a back injury, his career could be over. And you're going to risk your career your career on this, like you may not be another head coach again. People put that stain on you for a long time, especially when you come from New York. How many of these coaches the Giants have had are floating around? Ben McAdoo is barely getting a job now. You know, Pat Shermer's not even in the league anymore. James Betcher, Patrick Graham, like there are not a lot of these guys there. If you fail with the New York Giants, you fail and it goes to ramifications. I know that Giant fans like to wear pride, but how can you be prideful when you're one of the worst teams in the league? And we lost 222, he was great. No, he wasn't. Daniel Jones was average at best in 2022. The reason why people liked it is because they like to win. But that's not sustainable. You know why the teams like Kansas City, the Buffalo Bills, Miami, the Bengals, those teams are in the playoff hunt every year because of their quarterbacks. They are. Case in point. Eagles have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. Cowboys 2 years in a row. 49ers have been to the playoffs 2 years in a row. All these teams that we talk about have been there. The Rams have a quarterback. They were back in the playoffs this year. Puka Nacua is not Puka Nacua without Matthew Stafford throwing him the football. Just remember that. Just remember that when you're sitting there watching Rome Odunze run down the field and he's putting his hand up trying to get the ball and he goes check down Charlie. And we're wondering, and then we're going to make the excuse, oh, he wasn't the first read on the play. Give me a break. You go high to low. Daniel Jones goes low to high, and most likely he takes the first read on the low route because it's less risky and he's scared to lose his job. The one thing I will say about this, I'm tired. I don't want to keep bashing the guy, but if I have to coddle a guy, right? If I have to coddle him and tell you that he's a starter and prop him up, then he's not the guy I want on my team. Because if you look around the league, their starters, nobody's propping up Joe Burrow. No one's propping up Mahomes, Herbert, anything. No one's going, hey, those guys are my quarterback. That's my quarterback. He's my starting quarterback. Like, who does that? Who does that? Why does he need that reassurance? That's not a leader among men. I got a backup quarterback in an undrafted rookie free agent who has more leadership skills than my $160 million man. All I'm asking people is to give me a good, viable reason. And don't tell me the offensive line. I don't want to hear about the offensive line. We know that's a problem. I need you to tell me what you see in this guy. And don't show me the Arizona Cardinal game, because I'll tell you that team stinks. When has he won a meaningful football game? And don't tell me the playoffs either, because we all know that Minnesota team was not that good defensively. Atrocious, as a matter of fact. They broke records of how bad they were. I want to know why he can't beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Why is that game overlooked? He was an absolute dog shit. You don't tell me the offensive line, we were outmatched, none of that bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit. Because Eli Manning, guess what? We went up against the 49er team, who was the best team in football that year. They had home field advantage. And in the NFC Championship game, that guy took a pounding. Had the worst offensive line in football, took a pounding, and kept his team in the game, kept fighting. So that's what I want to say. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I'm tired of people telling me that we don't have a quarterback problem. Let's get a wide receiver that's going to make everything better. We've done that already. We brought in Galladay. We brought in Hyatt. We brought in, Bellinger, Waller, and nothing has worked to get this guy over the hump. Yet now we're going to waste another asset on a guy because we want to build the team up around him because we want the perfect situation. I'm sorry, this is the NFL. We got teams like the Lions in a heartbeat turn it around and get to the NFC Championship game, and we get one playoff and done, and we high-fiving each other and laughing at other teams when they get out. When these teams, the hottest team in football was the Detroit Lions last year. They took their last year's winnings and carried it over. We're going to bring back a quarterback who can't even stay healthy, and we don't even want to sign a guy, and then people want to tell me, Ryan Tannehill, that guy's injured and it stinks. Like, what are we doing here? Just food for thought. You can come at me, tell me all you want. I need to know, on the DJ Lover side, why do you love him? Why do you love mediocre football? Why don't you want greatness? Why don't you want to strive to get better? You want a receiver to elevate the receiving core, but you don't want to get a quarterback because of why? You don't want to elevate the quarterback position because of why? It's a position on the field, isn't it? Why do you want mediocre? Why do you keep saying, get a guy in the third round? Why not get one in the first or second? With actual talent. You saw what Brian Dable can do with guys with less talent and elevate them. Why not get a guy? Why not give Brian Dable the fairest chance to win and get a quarterback? I don't believe Brian Dable is going to want to risk his career with Daniel Jones, but we'll see what happens. Another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. I'm out.